All right, so before we really get into part 2 of the dichotomy that exists between when she cheats and when he cheats, I wasn't gonna do a part 2, but I feel like there's more layer into this topic. And I mean, layers. It's like a yellow onion, right? The more you peel, the more it hits you, the more it stings, the more you start asking yourself why you even picked up in the first place. Well, unless, of course, you're a chef like myself and you figure out how to cut onions without feeling like you're in front row at a Michael Jackson concert. All right, real quick. So drop in a comment if you know how to cut onions without becoming a crybaby. But jokes aside, that's really what this conversation is, layered. And before we start, let me just put this out there again, real quick. Though I have taken a lot of psychology courses in the past, whether it's through undergrad school or graduate school, which I'm currently in right now, or when I initially started taking courses for general studies, I took a lot of psychology courses. However, I'm not claiming expertise as a psychologist or a dating coach. This is simply one man's perspective, shaped by lived experience and observation. So let's get unfiltered. So in part 1, we peel the surface. We talk about the first questions after infidelity. Did you sleep with him? Did you love her? What those questions reveal and what they point to. But tonight, the goal is different. Tonight, the goal is to go deeper, to talk about what those first questions don't resolve. Because asking the question doesn't equal healing. He just tells you where the one is. And here's the thing. Once the question is answered, people expect relief. They expect clarity. But most of the time, what actually shows up is uncertainty, a quieter kind of discomfort, because answers explain what happened, but they don't explain what changed. And that distinction matters. For many men, the aftermath feels like an internal audit, not loud, not dramatic, just constant recalculating. Moments that once felt solid start getting revisited. Decisions that felt confident start getting questioned. And slowly, almost without noticing, confidence starts to thin. Not confidence in her necessarily, confidence in self-judgment. And that itself, it's destabilizing. That's why a lot of men slow down after betrayal. They're not stonewalling, they're not emotionally unavailable. They're trying to regain internal footing. They're asking questions they do not yet have language for. And stay with me on this. Speaking too soon feels risky because clarity hasn't arrived yet. Women, on the other hand, often move in a different direction. Instead of recalculating, they begin to reinterpret. They play conversations, tone shifts, moments of distance that didn't feel threatened at the time. They are searching for emotional continuity, trying to understand when the connection stopped feeling mutual. And one of the hardest realizations is this. Emotional distance usually appears before betrayal becomes visible. And this is where people start missing each other. Like men pull inward to process, women reach outward for reassurance. And men start to believe space will prevent more damage. And women experience that space as confirmation of loss. And both people are hurting, just in different places. There's a therapist named Esther Perel who explains this beautifully. For context, she's a renowned psychotherapist based in Belgium. She's also a New York Times best-selling author and one of the most respected voices on modern relationships, intimacy, and desire. Through her books and live conversation, and even her podcast, Where Should We Begin?, she helped millions navigate love, betrayal, and connection. She says something that really sticks. Betrayal shatters the story of us. And that's true. But what often gets overlooked is this. The story doesn't shatter the same way for everyone. For some, the loss feels structural. For others, it feels relational. Same event, but different fracture points. And once that story breaks, the mind starts scrambling to make sense of it. Even though I was never a psychology fan back in school, I used to love Leon Festinger because he used to talk a lot about relationship. And he introduced the idea of cognitive dissonance. In simple terms, it's the mental discomfort we feel when reality contradicts what we believe to be true. And infidelity creates that exact tension. Like someone believed they were secure, chosen, understood, and suddenly these beliefs no longer lined up with reality. You see where I'm going with this? So the mind works overtime trying to reconcile the gap. And the danger is when that reconciliation happens in isolation. Men may quietly conclude, I can't rely on closeness the same way anymore. And women may quietly conclude, I can't trust emotional availability. Neither conclusion is usually spoken, but both of them shape behavior. Less vulnerability, more caution, more emotional shield. And this is how relationships change without anyone announcing it. Not through arguments, not through fights, but through adaptation. Like people became careful instead of curious. And over time, caution replaces intimacy. This is also the moment where honesty becomes more important than reassurance. Not polished honesty, not strategic honesty, but the real honesty. The kind that says, I'm still figuring out what has changed in me. The kind that admits confusions instead of pretending clarity. That kind of honesty slows things down, but it creates space for truth. If healing is possible, it happens here. Not when details are clarified, but when impact is acknowledged. Like when people talk about how the relationship feels now, not how it's supposed to feel. And sometimes this matters. The most honest outcome is recognizing that the relationship cannot return to what it was. And that's not failure for anyone. That's clarity. Because sometimes healing doesn't always mean staying. It means separating without distortion, without writing the past just to justify the present. So the real question for part 2 is not, can we move past what happened? It's, can we understand what we became after it happened? So if you're listening as a man, ask yourself, what shifted in how I trust my own judgment now? And if you're listening as a woman, ask yourself, what shifted in how safe it feels to be emotionally open? Those answers matter more than timelines or explanations. So this is Unfiltered Exposure podcast. And like I said last night, if you have a different perspective about this topic, I have 2 mics available if you like to be a guest on the show and discuss this topic with me. Because growth doesn't come from repeating the first question. It comes from sitting with the answers long enough to ask better ones. So if you like me to peel more onions about this topic, I'm open to it. Drop in a comment, send me a message, or better yet, come to Unfiltered Exposure and let's sit down and debate this topic together. Because I can only tell from a man's perspective. And although I would love to have another man discussing this topic as well, I would rather have a female perspective instead. So to all the ladies out there, don't feel shy of the cameras, because remember, we're not live. I could always chop out and take out the part that you don't like and make you look fabulous before I even post it online. So like I said, subscribe, drop in a comment, leave a message, and let's get unfiltered. And I'll see you in the next episode. When he cheats, she asks him, did you love her? And when she cheats, he asks her, did you sleep with him? That's tough. That's brutal. And I feel like there's more layer to this topic. Good night.
I got quiet now 'cause I don't care. I just didn't know who I wasn't there. Started questioning my own ground. How something solid broke down. I wasn't chasing something new. I was running from parts of me and you that I didn't know how to explain. So I escaped and called it shame. I leaned in closer, you pulled away. Silence louder than what you say. I replay moments I let slide. Things I felt but couldn't justify. I don't need perfect, I need real. Tell me what you actually feel. 'Cause staying hurts and leaving too. And I don't know which one is true. Ooh, I thought space would keep us safe. Didn't know it felt like replacement. I thought closeness would bring it back. Didn't know it felt like attack. Same betrayal, different fears. Same love, different tears. Did you love her or just escape? Did did you choose her over our place?
I didn't choose her, I chose the dark. Didn't know it'd leave this scar.
After the truth, after the pain, we're not who we were yesterday. You name the body, I name the bond. Now we're figuring out what's gone.
I didn't know how to stay present, so I disappeared inside myself.
I didn't know how to protect my heart without losing you or myself. We asked different questions, but we wanted the same thing.
I needed to know
if I was still chosen.
I needed to know what I had broken.
After the question, after the fall, we're standing here